A tsunami watch meant the possibility of storm surge type waves likely to threaten property and life within 1,000 kilometers of the epicenter of the earthquake. Like in Belize City and elsewhere, fire trucks sounded the alarm, alerting residents on San Pedro and Kikoker of the possible threat. The Emergency Operations Center on the islands was immediately activated and residents cautioned to seek higher grounds, in this case, the second or third floor of buildings.
People start running before we even got to the radio. But when we got to the radio and we start giving notification to the public, the people wanted to save their lives. And they were running, going to the higher grounds and to probably two-story concrete buildings. They were very proactive, yes, but the thing is that the entire populace on the island were a bit scared. It's the first time they felt something that strong. Everybody was like on golf carts and, moving from the low areas, coming into town, asking their neighbors, their friends to accommodate them in the good, strong, solid concrete buildings.
But the National Met Service says that the country has been experiencing spring tide, a phenomenon that has been causing the abnormal receding of water levels during the months of January and February. But that recession, which is insignificant to that experienced just before a tsunami hits, nevertheless made the scare all too real, sending residents into a frenzy.
It's just a coincidence, Isani. We as a nation, sometimes we just pay attention or we become more observant when something really happened. But as a nation, if we were observing, some of the fishermen and the people in the quay did call them at officer a couple days ago, want to know why the water was receding, why at low tide you have this big difference. The explanation is for that we were experiencing what we call a spring tide. And a spring tide usually occurred after a full moon or a new moon.
According to the National Emergency Management Organization, the expected time of a possible tsunami would have been around 10:30, according to the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center. In San Pedro, 2 shelters were opened and housed approximately 254 residents. As in the case of hurricanes, NEMA coordinator Vanessa Parham says that the status quo is exercised.
With a tsunami, we don't have much time. And every second is a life. That's how we look at it. So what we do is we stick to simplicity and the basic drills. That's the focus of our mandate while dealing with tsunamis and earthquakes. It does not give us adequate time like a hurricane. Like I mentioned before, every disaster comes with different characteristics. So what we do is we stick to the basic drills. We warn people, go to a higher building, stay away from glass doors, glass windows. Take whatever whatever supplies you can with you that you have at that time, that is. And what happened is we reduce the use of the roads and the crossings of bridges because that can create chaos on this island.
Just before 11 p.m., 2 hours after the earthquake, an all clear was given for Belize and there was a collective sigh of relief that the country was spared. But it is a lesson to be learned, says San Pedro Mayor Daniel Guerrero, and we must educate on best practices in the events of not only hurricanes, but now tsunamis.
There's a big gap of where we have to improve on giving the training, education concerning tsunami. Not only tsunami, but fires and hurricanes and all this. So I prefer to be on the safe side than to regret it. It's better to be safe than to really not be here.
Duane, Moody for News 5.